Hey, Kwong, how's it going?
Hey Laura, good, thanks. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Folks should be joining in a minute.
Okay. Sorry, this is like my first time I joined since you told me about this.
We've had a lot going on.
Oh yeah, I know. But I do appreciate you including me. So
I'm sorry?
I do appreciate you including me.
Of course. Paul Pindell's supposed to join soon. We'll see if we get folks. They've actually, these guys have been working a lot on this stuff in the background. I've been seeing a lot going back and forth over Slack, but don't know.
I'm horrible at checking Slack.
It sounds like John Gruber's going to sync with you because he's got his LLM model built.
Hmm.
And he wants to do it. He's making sure that ChromaDB and Llama both work on ARM, just in case. But he did the EA app. It's running on containers. He just needs Kubernetes to get this up in a deployment. It's a data science app, and he used an MLOps framework. It's a UI from the MLOps community.
Hmm.
But perhaps don't discuss it until you guys have sort of synced about it. Okay. Hi,
Um,
Rahul. How are you?
Hey, hi Laura, I'm good. How are you?
Good. This is joining us today is Kwon Yuen. He works with our team, the team at F5. He helps.
Oh,
He's worked in product management as a product management engineer, and is also does a significant amount of our technical work when we're building out programs. So I felt like this
great.
lab environment would be a good place for him to kind of sync up. But I don't know if we're going to get a lot of folks today. We'll see what happens with all that.
Sure. Hey, hi Kwang. Yeah, hi.
Hi Rahul, nice to meet you.
Yeah, same here.
Rahul, you work for Marvell, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and what's your actual role at Marvell?
Uh, I'm kind of I'm basically working on defining the life cycle management for the DPU devices right
Yeah,
now.
got it.
Before that, I was working on a storage product. So,
Got it. I wonder if I have an 11. I don't. I don't have a meeting until 1. Okay. Let's give everybody a couple more minutes, and if we don't see
yeah.
folks, unless you have something that we need to cover today, Rahul, do you have anything that you need to review over the work list, or anything that needs to?
Uh, yeah, mostly I'm working along with Boris. So we discuss a couple of tasks. So
Right.
I just generated a I just generated a pull request for the Telegraph config for Marvel device, but there's some issue with the 100 gig interface on the DPU. So trying to figure that out.
Is it on the Marvell DPUs?
Yeah.
Okay.
So for all the other DPUs, Boris already has the Telegraph config. So
Okay.
for Marvel, I just
Got it.
yeah.
No worries, Kwon. So it looks like we have a new person today, Daniel.
Hi, yes.
Hi. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good.
Uh,
Get elected to come join the POC working group with the team.
yeah, I would like to know what's going on here. I usually joining the provisioning and life cycle group.
Ah, okay, gotcha. Wow,
So
getting a bunch of folks today, crazy. So you wanted to find out what happens here in the POC working group.
yes, I'm kind of curious what you're working on, if any work related to the work what we are doing in the provisioning and life cycle group. Um, I don't know if you keep picking up anything from what we are discussing.
No,
Probably not.
I haven't been joining the provisioning and lifecycle working group, so I'd love to hear your take on it.
Yeah, we currently work on several things. It's related to Redfish schemas.
Okay.
I think it calls the Ansible some stuff, and some stuff related to SM bias.
We were actually
Um,
just talking about the Ansible playbook that we're setting up for automation. We're trying to automate a couple of different things within the POC working group. So, and I think Rahul, you can probably speak to that a little bit better than I can. Do you want to give Daniel some background on what you and Boris are working on right now? Rahul?
Sure. Yeah. Daniel, you were in the call yesterday when Boris presented, right?
Yes, I was.
Yeah. So I think Boris covered pretty much everything, right? What we are doing with Ansible. So what he's looking for is little bit of help because he alone is managing the playbooks right now. So I'm trying to help him. I'm new to Ansible. So if there's some Ansible expert from your side who can help with the setting up the lab, or after the lab automation, we are going to start working on automating the demo flows. So that's what we are looking for now.
Yep. Mersha, how are you doing today?
Good morning. Good.
Good. Are you ready for me to pull up the action item list?
Sure.
Okay. Hi,
I have
Don.
to
Thanks for
update.
joining us. I'm sorry.
I have few updates.
Yay, go team updates. Okay, bear with me for 1 second, guys. Moving a little slow today. And I think Paul's going to be joining us in a few minutes as well. He said he'll be here, but he's a little late. I need to log in. Um, Okay, sorry, thanks for being patient with me there, guys. Okay, so lab POC working group. These are our backlogs. Sorry. Okay, so should we go to do or do you want to go to in progress first?
In progress, probably.
All right, so create the ZTPD bootstrap server.
Yeah, Mass was still not released when I checked last week. I'll check again. Was supposed to be released
Okay,
a week back. And that should fix it. So yeah, leave it in progress.
okay.
Let's see.
We're waiting to update and patch that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, the
We
separate,
already have the separate management server.
so this is done.
In progress because it's still being configured. But
Okay.
we have it, we order it.
All right, let me put it in, like, add that status. Oh. Okay. IPsec demo on Mount Evans. Where are we at with the IPsec demo? Did I lose you, Mersha? Or do you not have an opinion?
No, I'm speaking. I'm not sure if I'm audible.
Now you are. Strangely, I think you're going in and out.
Yeah, I'm not able to hear. Oh, it's joining again.
It's audible enough?
I can hear you now, but you're a little garbly.
Perfect. I dropped and I came back. All right. So I'm saying with this one, I'm still waiting for offload enablement. We have everything ready. It's just not being offloaded to hardware. So
It's
yeah,
not being offloaded to hardware, is that what you said?
yes.
Okay, is that a problem with is that a problem with the configuration or is that a problem?
It's a problem with me doing the steps to enable the hardware offload. So I needed some help. I'm getting the help, so it will take a few more days.
Oh, and you're waiting for it probably from the guys at Intel, right?
Yes. Yeah.
All right, E EVPN proof of concept on a network environment.
Yeah, so E EVPN, I did a PR. I sent it for review. I saw Dimitriov commented. He wanted us to add the diagrams there to explain better the scenario. So we need to add the diagram so he can see it, so we can kind of merge what we were able to achieve with and what he was able to achieve. So we have description. PR, it's already there, but it's a draft. I mean, the point is not to merge the PR. The point is to provide the feedback.
Got it.
And then we're gonna merge something, a demo that uses the actual OPI API.
Got it. All right, so defined lab demos for road shows. I know that we've built a number of demos, but we probably, and we have some of that information here. Is what we have good enough? We built a bunch for LF1. Do we want to continue to use the same ones, or do we want to have Paul in that conversation and Boris as well? Because I can come back to this because I know that Paul's about to jump on the call.
Yeah, we should come back to it. We should create a
Okay.
list.
Okay. All right, status of the ARM server with the DPUs, with DPU support. I know that there were issues with ARM servers and DPUs.
No. Yeah, those are, I would say, how to say, word of the mouth issues. No, there's no issue. ARM server, it's up and running, both management interface as well as the network interface.
Okay,
DPU, Marvel DPU in the ARM server boots fine, no issue.
yeah,
We have the 100 gig interface link up. We have the BMC interface existing,
okay,
but it's not configured. So we do not have an IP, I believe, on the BMC, and we do not have an IP in the DPU itself through the 1 gig. If
okay.
that's
So
even
how does that- yeah, okay, so then is the problem with the BMC that we don't have the right firmware on it?
yeah. The problem with the firmware.
Okay,
There's a firmware update pending, so that will come maybe in June sometime.
okay, great, thanks.
But card is there, and as a pack, if anybody wants SSH, we can enable it through the 100 gig interface.
Yeah, Moshe, I tried to enable it, but I was not able to get the link. Get the IP on the link. So maybe I can. We can sync offline.
Yes,
to get that.
because it's an illegal operation. You are not supposed to have management through the test data
100 gig.
interface.
Yeah.
So
right.
the core and the 100 gig switch, while they are physically connected, on purpose, those interfaces, I have them shut down. So for an experiment, you can bring them up and so on, but don't leave them like this, because then if we generate some test traffic that escapes from management, I don't want to lab shut down because we are generating some DDoS attack on the internet.
Right. Yeah.
The other option is to go on, let's say on the Bluefield 2 card or any other DPU, put an IP, a static IP on the 100 gig interface, put a static IP in the Marvel DPU 100 gig interface, and then SSH allows you to use -J, like a jump host, and you say, I want to access this IP of the 100 gig interface in Marvel through the IP of the Bluefield 2, the management IP, and then SSH knows to double jump, basically.
Okay.
So that's another option, but again, we have not. It's possible, it will work. We have not done it, because we don't want to blast traffic.
Correct.
So if you really need it, enable it when you need it, disable it once you finish your work.
Yeah, because the serial level LAN, it's not properly working for me. So SSH would be better. So let me try.
Serial works, I would say, perfect. Use TIO instead of Minicom and screen and so on. And if one user does a hold of it, nobody can use it. So before you start, if you see any weirdness with it, just reboot the ARM server. Anyway, it's not like we have 20 people working on it. So just reboot it. And then you know for sure that you are the one and only that grabbed the serial.
Correct. So what was the tool you mentioned? TIO.
TIO, it's already installed there.
Okay, I'll
PIO and
try
you
that.
say /dev/tty USB
Yeah,
0 or 1,
Serial.
and you don't need to pass any arguments, anything, automatically detects everything and works perfectly.
Great. I'll try that then. Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Are we good? On that?
Yeah, so it's still in progress, basically. I
Okay.
mean, let's put it like this. The ARM server is done, okay? ARM server, it's installed. I would say there's no issues there.
Well,
now
a while
it's a
back,
task,
there was.
bring the Marvel up. Bring the
Right,
IP on the
Marsha.
management on Marvel, yeah.
Gersha, a while back, there were some issues with the card speaking to the ARM host. So I
I
don't,
know, but
I
that
don't know
was
if we're
last
still having
year.
that problem. If we're not, then we move on.
No.
Okay.
So we,
All right.
I don't know if we want to mark it as done.
Okay, I don't know if you put in the order for the SanDisk drives for imaging the ARM servers yet?
No. SanDisk drive has nothing to do with the ARM, had to do with the Marvel card. So
Okay,
if we put ARM server done, that everything works and is configured on the ARM server.
okay, but we do need them for the Marvell cards?
Marvel card came, I think, with a disk that it's 128 gig. And then Paul ordered a 1 terabyte one, but it was the wrong format. So yes, we need a bigger drive if people want a bigger drive. So far, we haven't needed whatever
Sounds like
images
this
we have.
is a nice
so
to
far, they
have, so I'm gonna get rid of it.
Yeah. So I would say just keep it to imaging the ARM server, mark it done, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Ansible Planebook for lifecycle management. I was under the impression that this was done.
That's kind of keeps going, doesn't it?
In different ways, right? So we've got Ansible Playbook for lab automations, we've got lifecycle management. And then we've got all the manual instructions for the different workflows. And those were gonna be pulled up and pulled into that Ansible Playbook, am I correct?
Yeah, that's the plan.
But these are all in progress.
Those
Um,
are different items.
yes, they're all separate. But
For
they,
the lifecycle management, I'll rename it. It's not a playbook, it's a collection. Well, I'll make it more clear. Yeah.
that's okay, you're fine. Okay. Let's go to the issues into, do you want anything updated in any of these, Boris?
I update as I go usually.
Okay,
So I did implement the Mount Evans Intel firmware update, Bluefield firmware updates, Arista switches. So the Ansible playbook is huge right now. And I was able to fetch help from inside Dell to help me with Ansible automation as well. So I'll get a guy who will review my work and give advice.
okay,
So yeah, I'm updating as it goes.
Perfect.
The
okay,
biggest thing right now is we are stuck on Marvell card. We are stuck on AMD Pensando card. We didn't want to progress on those two. And we still stuck on the management server that didn't migrate all the management services to it. So this is our 3 blockers that currently we're having.
okay, so we're blocked on the Pensando, we're blocked on the Marvell, we're waiting for firmware on the Marvell. What are we waiting for in Pensando?
To reimage the server.
To image the server, okay. And then what was the third thing that we're blocked on?
To transfer the DHCP to a new management server to reflash and all the other management services to reflash the DH1.
Do you need me to add that in this issues list, or do you want to put in to do, or are you okay with what, with the fact that it's they're all tasks right now? In the background, like how formal do you want me to be about those, or are they things that are gonna get fixed reasonably soon?
I'm waiting on Marsha. I'm not doing the reimaging myself, so
Okay.
whenever he feels comfortable, it's fine by me. By the way, on the Marvell card, you said we're waiting for a new firmware. I understand it's not just a firmware. We need a firmware and a new card.
Yeah, that's what they've
Yeah.
said.
Firmware and a new card?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right, then I'm gonna put that into do.
Once they have a new card, they need to ship it, we need to track it, like the usual stuff.
So Marvel cards are not GA basically? What?
It's
So-
Skyhawk
What's wrong with the
versus
hardware?
Marvel. Skyhawk versus Marvel, it's a different cards.
So there are two flavors of the Marvel card. There's the flavor that's out in the market right now that does not have a BMC on it. You have to use the USB console to get to it. Same. And then there's one that they're developing that has a BMC incorporated that isn't yet working. So you still have to use the USB to get to it. But once this new firmware is done, they're expecting that you'll be able to get to the Marvel card BMC via that RJ45 1 gig port.
Okay.
So they're working on developing that right now. So yes, the card that we have is not GA.
In that question, do we need in parallel, or instead, do we want to order the non-BMC version of the Marvel card?
We can. Can you from the network configure it? Would you use Ansible to jump to a host, then to the USB? Is that how you would do it?
Has 1 gig. Once it's initially provisioned, we have 1 gig management port, right? Not just
No, it doesn't have a management.
It has a 1 gig that goes to the ARM cores. That's how I have been using mine. I have the one without the BMC. So I have a 1 gig to the ARM cores, but to get to the ARM cores, all that menu that you do, press Z, press S, press whatever to choose a 100 gig link 4x25 and so on, all that you have to do it via the USB serial.
But that's only once. Once you finish that, now you have the 1 gig to the ARM cores.
Always, yeah. It comes up and it pulls the address to the ACP and works fine.
That answers your question, Paul?
I mean, we can definitely order one, an existing CN106 card. The 48 core version, and put it in the lab if you'd like.
I don't have an opinion. I'm just asking if this is something that we want to do.
Yeah, we can. It would get it up and running. I don't know if it would get it up and running sooner than, I don't know what the lead time is on those.
Why don't we just make it?
For us, for us, there is no difference, I would say, between that card and this card. Not that much of a difference. I mean, we can use this card even now.
The problem, Marsha, we didn't receive any estimation from Skyhawk on when the new firmware on the new card will be available. That's
No, but forget about the firmware. We could use a card today.
Without 1 gig at all, not on ARM, not on BMC, both 1 gigs are not working.
Yeah, but we can access it via serial and we can access it via the 100 gig link. So, for the demos you are doing, it's good enough. I don't know.
Okay, I thought that you were concerned about connecting the 1 gig to 100 gig and mixing the management.
Yeah, of course I have a concern about that. So I ask people, connect it, do your demo, do your work, and then disconnect it. Don't leave it hanging there. And pay attention not to escape traffic to the way you set your routes and so on when you do the test. So yeah, concern is there, but it's doable.
No, well, no, again, I don't have an opinion. I just wanted to raise the issue so we can discuss it like we're doing.
Because I would prefer to get the one with the BMC in the end, if we are to get one. If we get the one without the BMC, we'll still kind of have, yeah, it will be a bit better, but not, you know.
Yeah.
Agree.
If you ask me where to spend the money, I would definitely order the Bluefield 3 card. Hey, if we have the single budget or we are constrained on that instead of Marvel.
okay. Do we not already have BF3s? I thought we had BF3s already.
We have a Bluefield too.
Oh, we don't have, we should be BF3s.
Something
I
wanted
agree.
to contact Sridhar to order the Bluefield 3 card, so it didn't happen. So we haven't ordered those yet. So we need to
Okay.
ASAP if possible. There was a Slack thread about this, and it ended up nowhere. So
Is Sridhar supposed to do that?
Now, the way it goes, Sridhar needs to get a quote.
Got it.
Now, getting the quote, it's our stuff. Now, who was Elad said that he could give us like a demo pricing and so on.
They always say
But
that.
that will be on a single card. Then there was an idea, what about if we order a server with a card in it?
Yeah, I suggested to order the Dell PowerEdge server with
Yeah.
Bluefield 3 pre-installed and all the power cables, so that's an option.
In that case, can you get that quote? I mean, if it's a Dell,
I think Joe White took an action item on the quote.
okay, yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's all we need. The quote sent to Sridhar and then it will be purchased, delivered.
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine. It's just not moving. Like nobody is actually ordering anything. That's fine. Whoever it's to need to do stuff needs to do stuff. It's not moving.
So do you own this or does who owns this for us? Do I need to ping Joe and say what's the
Joe,
start
yeah.
quota? I'm getting a quote
Definitely
for
Joe.
BF3 on a Dell. Is that you?
Joe, definitely Joe.
It's Joe? Okay. I'll go change
I'll
it.
send him an email to you and Joe to remind, and then he can add the product management that can give us a call.
Why is Joe White not in here? Is he Joseph on here? Joe's not in here. You're the next best thing to Joe, Boris. I'll go harass him on Slack.
Okay.
Hold on. There we go.
I thought I had sent him a Slack about this. Maybe it was an email. I'll look.
I'm sending him a text over Slack. Or a message over Slack. All right, I've sent Joe a message. Get a quote for BF3 on Dell. I'm going to add that I will ping Joe W. over Slack. Paul and Boris are also asking this.
I think for Dell, maybe it's already GA, so we can just order it from the website.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I've added status to this. Okay, so I want to go back to something that we were talking about earlier. He said should be, I'll ask. He'll take care of it, or he'll get me there. All right, so defining the lab demo for road shows. I know that we built a significant amount of stuff for LF, right? And I know that it is tracked. I wouldn't mind seeing it in this comment, so at least have something to reference it. Is this the correct spot for what we built for our demos for LF1? Paul, Boris, whoever was involved.
It's a right folder, but there are no demos inside.
Okay, where are the demos?
In the open pull request.
Okay. What needs to happen to them?
Marsha? Marsha asked me not to.
So IPsec, I need to finish the hardware enablement, the offload.
Okay,
the Intel card on the Bluefield 2 card should be fine.
Okay,
That I should push it. On Marvel card, it's also there, so I could make that. What else do we have? EVPN, EVPN, like I said, is still work in progress. I just made a draft. So Dimitrios provided some feedback.
I
Yeah,
posted the PR in the chat, Laura, so you can. copy.
yes, I'm adding it to the comment. Number 965. Sorry to interrupt you, Marcia.
Yeah.
Question for you guys. The reason that I built this task is that not simply so that we could talk about the demos that we already have, which is a powerful conversation on its own, but to make sure that we're sort of constantly having that conversation. Because really the goal of this working group is to have demos, right? To build out proof of concepts. And if we have the baseline proof of concepts that we want, that's great. But do we have everything that we want? And is there more? And how should we be talking about it? And how should we be tracking it? Obviously, the stuff that's in the pull request state is a healthy state on its own, but we need to discuss if we have what we want here and figure out how we want to track it as a group. Because we're
And
sort
also
of getting
to
to the point, where our network is mature enough that we can meaningfully talk about POCs.
I agree, and just to add to that, the current pull request that Marcia is doing, it's all PowerPoint and most of them PowerPoints and screenshots and stuff like that, which is great. I would also like to see this demo actually running in our labs. So every time we change something, we can rerun it again. So we need a framework and we can discuss it, whether it's Ansible or PyTest or something else, that with one click button, we can choose from a menu the demo that we want to run and run it. And I prefer maybe that we can pick one, the easiest one, and make it work like end to end to our satisfaction, and then just copy paste the same success to other demos. Versus like taking all the demos that we did and trying to kind of figure out all of them in a single pull request, like huge mess. So that's what I wanted to bring up to this attention. Like,
Okay, let me do the IPsec, the ones I can do. I can do even the Mount Evans without the hardware offload
Mhm.
and come with a hardware offload as another PR later. Yeah, I was having the same question. What others do you want to add besides this? I mean, this is just work for me to contribute them. But what's the content for the next demos? And I was having a question also, what is the next event where we're gonna showcase demos? Where we wanna participate?
So before the next event, Marcia, if you can have a simple one, the IPsec demo, for example, if you can have it ready with the manual steps or scripts and everything, I can then integrate it with Ansible and GitHub Actions, and then we can have one click button run this demo inside our lab on the physical infrastructure.
Okay.
If you want, we can split the work like this or any other way that you prefer. I'm flexible.
Okay, I'll make a PR for that.
Paul, thoughts? Paul does not have thoughts.
Paul does not have, Paul's thinking if he has thoughts or not.
Paul's had
Um,
enough.
No, Paul is looking for a server quote that he has for
Paul is multitasking.
Paul's multitasking. Trying to find the R760 quote I have.
I'm kind of curious about, we got a bunch of watchers today. I'd like to hear what like Kwang or Don or Daniel or anybody or Rahul thinks of this conversation, opinions. I know you guys don't come here every single week, so you might just be being flies on the wall, but you're sort of getting a baseline sense of how we partner. Does anybody have an opinion about what they are hearing? Or want to integrate or partner or share or et cetera at all?
I'm sorry. Yeah, this is my first time joining. Yeah, nice to meet everyone. I apologize that I had to take a really important phone call, and So I feel like I'm getting a lot of partials.
That's fine, don't stress it.
It's all very interesting though.
A lot of this stuff is stuff that happens very much in flight, so. Okay, Boris, Marcia, do you guys have anything else that you want reviewed today?
No, like I said, just a question, what's the next place are we gonna display demos?
That's a good question. What's the next show that we want to head to? You guys, what should we be aiming for? We already missed the April OCP in Portugal, right? So what's the next one?
The next show, we talked about shoot, the open source summit being a show that we might attend next.
Okay, let's talk about that. Let me add this issue. Open source one, you said?
Open source summit.
Sorry, I'm starting to get them confused. When and where is that? It's in Seattle or
Looking,
is it in Europe?
April 16th through 18th in Seattle. So that's a year away.
But there's also the
2000,
16th.
hang on, that's 2024. Just a minute.
There's the 16th through the 18th in Vienna. Which might
That would be nice.
that would be nice, but it might be a bit much. Let's see what else. And there's also a CFP. of September 16th through 18th. When is that due? Oh, it's closed. That's closed for September. September would be like the next thing, right? There's the Paris Open Source Summit in December.
I usually present anything during the OCP summits.
I'm sorry, Daniel?
Yeah,
Uh,
for sure.
Yeah, OCP summit should be, I believe, in September or October.
Yeah,
I don't know if you're doing anything planning to do anything during the OCP summit.
there's one in Vienna in September, and then there's one in Paris in December. So if there's a different summit we should be showing up at. Oh, you said OCP or open source?
It's OCP, it should be in San Jose, in California.
Ah, OCP. That's the wrong OCP. Compute project, shaping the future, latest. It's the OCP Regional Summit. Projects, events. There's the Global Summit.
There's one. So the Global Summit, October 15th through 17th,
Yep.
San Jose.
We could prep stuff for both of those and then figure out which one we can go to or find out which ones we can go to. Do you guys want to do that? Don't everybody yell at once.
Yeah, no, I think those are ones. I mean, definitely the one in San Jose. That's easy for people to
Right.
get to. I don't know if it'd be great to go to have
Yeah,
a presence
yeah,
there,
I'm
but I
not-
don't know anybody's gonna go.
I'm not kidding myself, but wants us to do. I wish I could prioritize these. I'll put myself on that and I'll put you on it too, Paul. P2P. Okay,
You,
we need to figure, you and I need to figure that out. Does that sound right to you? Why don't we talk about it in our one-on-one this week?
Okay.
All right, does anybody have anything else that we need to cover today?
Just one more comment, Laura.
Sure.
So part of the work that I'm doing on the lab automation,
Uh-huh,
it really shows and flashes out, and I presented it yesterday on the lifecycle management committee.
okay,
It really shows really well
uh-huh,
how much difference do we have in all the DPUs and IPUs, and we are no closer to consolidation at all.
right,
The playbook, if you look at the playbook, how we upgrade and reboot the cards, what different access that we have,
yeah,
it really demonstrates how unsuccessful we are in this phase right now. So we do have consolidation for some APIs, for storage and some networking and stuff, which is still work in progress, but at least we're moving in the right direction. In the provisioning and lifecycle and management, I feel that we have a huge gap and that we're not closing. So the question is, can this group somehow to bring this to the attention of TSC and board that we would like to get more attention to the issue? Or
the fact
somehow?
that there's such a delta between the configurations of the cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that a conversation for steering? That we
Yeah.
want to have, like, I feel like we need to,
Probably, yeah.
I feel like that needs, I don't know, yeah. I mean, I thought the goal of the SCTPD solution was to kind of bridge that gap and then have a list of everything. I don't know, Daniel, what do you think? You're building lifecycle management. Do you feel like that's a conversation that should also be being addressed in lifecycle management a little bit more aggressively?
I'm not sure.
Why
In the
not?
working group yesterday, we talked about this a lot, but I feel that we haven't made a lot of progress. And again, if SDTP is a solution, I don't mind what solution is, but currently when I'm building the Ansible automation for the cards, it's
Mhm.
absolutely one off for every single card still. We
Yep.
have absolutely no single method to do the same stuff for everybody.
Who do you want to see involved in that, Boris? If you're thinking through all the people that have been participating at different levels in this conversation for this general working group, who do you want to see step up to the plate? And do you think that we have the right players? And do you want
I think that only this group like actually visualize the problem. Once we started to do the demos and we started to build a lab and we actually have the automation,
Mhm,
very similar to the customer environments.
mhm.
I think that emphasizes how big the problem is better, because previously all these working groups are more working on a kind of standard based and didn't have something in front of the eyes to actually showcase how different this stuff is.
Right. And now it's time to sort of build out.
It's not
Oh,
answering
yeah.
directly your question, but it's what I have for now.
No, I get it. I understand what you're saying. I'm trying to support what you're saying and figure out how we push that agenda, because this is always going to be hard, right? This is the hardest part about what we're trying to solve. We've got disparate companies that we need to unify on a solution, and everybody's philosophically motivated, but nobody's actually motivated, right? And so how do you make people more than just philosophically motivated to do the
That-
correct thing?
Yeah, that was the thing I was mentioning to you a little bit out of band there, Laura, but since it was raised, I figure I'm not opening a can of worms. I'm just adding my own wiggliness to the pile. And I think I've talked to Paul Pindell about this as well, but that notion of that bootstrapping issue where SCTP is going to be great for a demo, but getting each of these unique builds to that point is not something like the dream is, as far as I understood it, you go out, you buy a card, you plug it in, you go, and getting it from the I bought a card to the secure zero touch provisioning is running is still the bridge. It's still the gap to be bridged.
Yeah,
And
that-
we
and that
have
just-
done, and we have direct steps what each vendor needs to do in manufacturing
Yep,
for this, for
exactly,
this to
exactly.
make happen. So we just need to drive this change actually.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. It ends up being on each vendor because they're the last ones to touch it. You know, I can reinstall a big IP from bare metal, but that's because we're the last ones to touch it. I know everything we need to make that happen. I can reinstall a Mac, I can reinstall a Windows box, but
Mhm.
every single one of these cards is unique. So unless we can get some sort of open BMC buy-in or anything else that lets us get to that, lets us bridge that gap, that's that like you say there, Laura, getting it, you know, from actuality, from a philosophical view, that's the thing. And like Boris said, you know, we have everything everybody needs to do. The next real trick is to do it.
Okay, the next real trick is to do it, and do we see that trick happening here or pushing people to do it back at their companies? I mean, I see it happening here, right?
Well,
So
I
this-
think there's if we have and know a defined set of things that each vendor needs to do, we should make sure that the governing board, the TSC and the governing board are taking that back to the vendors and saying, hey, NVIDIA, you need to put a certificate on the card. You need to put this agent on the card. And then you're ready to go. Intel, you need to do this. Marvell, you need to do this. Pensando, do this. If we know what that is, to get them to a common place, that I think would be, then it's up to the vendors to decide if they're really interested or not. But I don't know that anybody has provided each vendor with a, hey, vendor, do X, Y, Z, and you can be OPI provisioning compliant.
So not to drain the conversation, but the simplest thing that we asked all vendors to do, just as an example, is in each and every DHCP client, in the config file, request for the new standard SDTP option. So
Yes.
we at least can serve them the SDTP, and nobody did that. So this, at least as an example, if we are successful in this small thing, I can then move to the next level and work about certificates and TLS authentication, mutual encryption, and device identity and all the other stuff. But if I'm not successful in even this small thing of let's change the DHCP client config on each and every card, I will not spend my time on other stuff.
Totally get it. So should we have the TSC and governing board make that request
Yeah.
Of the vendors? Make it very clear. Here's what we want you to do. Here's the first thing we want you to do in all of your builds. In your next firmware is change the DHCP client so that it requests options 67 or whatever it is. I think that's doable. I mean, I think that's an actionable next step.
All right,
Because, whereas you're saying with that, we can bring up, even without a certificate on the card, we can bring up and use SZTP to provision the card.
Yeah, for example, what I'm trying to do right now as we speak is I'm trying to extend the Ansible to fake the agent and the certificates and the DHCP and change the DHCP settings. So at least the image will be served like after the initial
Mhm.
like after they have the SSH, so we can test the flow end to end and see that everything is working. So once we have the cards, like firmware or OS images, whatever, supporting the agent inside, the certificate inside, the DCP, something of this, I can then slowly remove it from my automation and then still test it. And slowly, eventually, we'll have the entire flow end to end working. If it makes sense.
Is there the way to verify what the vendors are following the recommendations, like a tools which can be used to test the configurations, what provisioned into the card?
Absolutely, we can build any tools, right? Of
Yeah.
course, with Ansible and everything. We just need to decide what mechanism is there. We're going to be a shaming mechanisms of OPI website that will publish all the DPU vendors a table, and then green versus red cross or something like that, that which compliant, which not compliant, and we can keep it like that visible. I don't know. It's not my decision for sure. I'm good at technical. I'm lousy at marketing
But
and
should it
niceness, generic niceness.
should it be part of the I don't know, kind of certification program for the OPI to mark what the device is compatible with the OPI requirements? I don't know if the OPI community is planning to do anything like this, any type of the certifications.
We haven't done a certification because none of the cards are certifiable yet.
No, I mean, if you want to have vendors to do something specific, the certification may be a way to
Yes.
to kind of nicely ask them to do that.
To nudge them towards it, yes.
And for certification, we need tools which can pull this configuration and say, hey, yeah, you have it, you go to, or you don't. I don't know if the who will or who should work if the decision will be to have the certification mechanism, who will be working on tools to implement the tests and create the report for the specific device. Is that POC team or it's somebody else?
I think it would be this team to build that tool to do the checking.
Well,
For the
and is there even really a tool for that? Because if we provide the specifications and the reasons why those specifications are necessary, whether or not a device is able to operate within those specifications based on a server we set up. I mean, that's the simple tool, right? Just we need your stuff to do X because we do Y. Then if they don't do X to make Y happen, they fail. I mean, obviously there's a give and take.
Okay. What are next steps, guys?
Next steps are let's get on the TSC meeting with a recommendation of the TSC asking each vendor to update their DHCP client with the proper options.
I will tell Joe we want to be have a slot on the call tomorrow.
And I'm pretty certain, I could be wrong, but in Git, we've got those options detailed in there, correct?
We have the options detailed in Git for us.
I'm looking to see if I can pull it up. It is not there. See. think
I'll
it's in
post-
the SZTP.
Yeah, I'll post it in the chat just so people can have it.
Thank you. I'll put it in my notes. I will send these notes to Paul. Would you be speaking for us tomorrow morning, or would you want Boris to do it? What do you want to do? Want me to do
I
it?
will not be on because
Okay.
I will be on a plane.
Okay,
So
I can do it on the call tomorrow. I've asked Joe to put us on the agenda. Boris, I captured what you said in the chat, and what I'm going to say tomorrow is the following. Hi, guys. We need each of you to reach out to your organizations and update the firmware for your cards with the following DHCP client options. We need to add in Etsy DHCP client, dhcpclient.conf, we need to add option sctp-redirect-URL code 143 equals text. Request subnet mask broadcast address SCTP redirect URLs. Is that
No,
correct?
the last one is just to add the SZTP direct URLs to the existing list of the requests. It's not that we requesting the subnet mask, the broadcast address, all of them are existing. It's just adding the SZTP redirect URLs to the same list of already existing.
Okay. Add SCTP redirect to all of the existing lists. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
perfect.
Thank you, guys. That gives me the action item if I can get on that call tomorrow morning, depending on whether Joe has room on the agenda. I have pinged him, asking him for that. And I will also make a note of this in the outreach Slack channel, just reminding everybody that we're going to ask for that time on the call tomorrow morning. Okay?
Perfect.
Right. Anything else? Does anybody have any other questions?
Sounds good.
Okay. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you very much for your time.
Bye.
Thanks.